Hello, it's IELTS with me tutorial, and today I'm going to show you how to write a Band 9 essay for your IELTS writing task 2 question. In this module, we'll focus on a Band 9 model essay, as well as how to do our essay planning, and we are gonna analyze examiners' comments and notes, as well as a step-by-step explanation. Let's get started. Our question here is, some governments today seek to monitor the general public's electronic communications in the form of phone calls, text, and emails, think that this reduces crime. Many people oppose this, however, think that it erodes individual freedoms. Discuss the aspect of this debate and give your own conclusion to the discussion. Discuss, okay? Actually, regarding the explanation of the task, as we see, there is a two comment, two idea, and we have to give our opinion, and this is our discussion type essay. There is quite a lot of information in the introduction, as we see here. We are not expected to discuss the difference between phone calls, texts, and emails. Pay attention to this. But we are going to focus on the principles of monitoring and reducing crime versus individual freedoms. And pay attention that in the real exam, you have to read 2 or 3 times the question to be able to understand it, okay? Notice that how the candidate's plan connects the against monitoring paragraph to the against monitoring, okay, for and against, okay. And now we are gonna read it again. Some governments today seek to monitor the general public's electronic communications, think that this reduces crime. Many people oppose this. This what monitoring, seeking for monitoring. However, think that it erodes individuals' freedoms. Okay, how we should do our essay planning. What type of essay is this? Opinion over discussion. In our introduction, we have to talk a little bit about background and confirm that this is discussion type essay. Regarding our main body paragraphs, actually, we are going to supporting monitoring in our first paragraph with two reasons. Number one, known to reduce crime in some countries, such as in the USA. Or number two, reason, nothing to hide, nothing to fear idea. And against monitoring, actually, number one reason, breach of liberties. Would, for example, would we allow police to search our homes? Or number two reason, very low conviction rate, whether to act on specific information. And at the end, monitoring does not justify, does not explain loss of freedom. Police need to be more focused. Okay. Now we are going to analyze a Band 9 model essay, and please pay attention to every detail here, to what strategy the candidate used in this example. Okay. It is admirable that governments seek to reduce criminality and are prepared to use modern methods, approaches to achieve this. However, the arguments on both sides of this particular discussion about monitoring private electronic correspondence are by no means or definitely straightforward, as we shall see now. On the one hand, those who favor the interception of those who support, okay, blah blah blah, of private digital messages and calls say that only by doing so can criminal messages be tracked and culprits detained. Indeed, there are many examples of violent and sexual criminals, especially in the USA, who have been caught by these methods, by this approaches. A further argument is that people with nothing to hide should have nothing to fear from being monitored, and that monitoring is an exercise in public safety, is a meme in public safety, rather like CCTV or having police officers watch a large crowd for potential troublemakers. Such arguments are persuasive and are often used by media supporters of interceptions and monitoring. On the one hand and the other hand, or by contrast, though other people point to, cite to, demonstrate, highlight the fundamental breach of civil liberties, which this policing activity involves. After all, they say, pay attention to the usage of academic phrases, academic structures. We would not allow the police to search our homes entirely at random or open our paper correspondence without reason, purely on the chance of finding something incriminating. Another counter-argument, another opposing argument is pay attention to the usage of, synonyms, okay? The extremely small number of convictions. Please pay attention to the usage of high band vocabularies as well as, great collocations, okay? Another counter-argument is the extremely small number of convictions that actually originate from these methods compared to the overall population. It appears to be true. Please pay attention to the strategies used in this academic writing, such as using impersonal style, okay? Instead of saying, I believe this, I think that is, he or she says, it appears to be true that the security services are most effective when responding to specific information or observations rather than trawling the entire population's messages in the hope of detecting tiny numbers of criminals. And at the end, to sum up, to recapitulate, all in all, in conclusion, to conclude, I feel that the monitoring of the general population in this way is unjustified in terms of personal freedoms and the evident lack of the effectiveness of such methods. We should urge our police to focus on gaining information through informants and leads from concerned citizens, which would have a higher benefit in terms of conviction rate and the result and consequent public safety, which is our actually aim, right? Okay, now in this message, actually, in this essay, we saw high band 9 vocabularies, such as to detain culprits, okay? Pay attention that you can use Cambridge Dictionary with its great examples and academic phrases, and you can take a look at them actually. To detain culprits actually means that suspects have been taken into custody by the police for questioning or further investigation. Okay, for example, detain means to force someone to stay in a place or to delay them for a short time. For instance, for example, a suspect is being detained by the police for further what? Questioning. Or detention is the act of detaining someone or the state of being detained. It can also refer to what? To period of temporary, not permanent, custody before a court hearing. Okay, you can learn them, practice them, and use them in your speaking and writing. Another vocabulary: potential troublemakers. Potential troublemakers is someone who may cause problems or argument in the future. For example, someone who resists control. Again, you can take a look at Cambridge Dictionary. Some troublemaker is someone who intentionally causes problems, issues for other people, especially people who are in the position of power or authority. Again, another vocabulary: civil liberty is a noun, the right of people to basic freedoms and to live without the argument becoming involved in private matters. For example, the right of free speech is one of our most important civil liberties. And vocabularies such as conviction rates, or informants and the leads. Please take a look to our previous videos regarding government and authorities, the necessary and essential essential and vocabularies regarding the topic of government and authorities, okay, which I will share with you. Vocabularies such as grievance, to commit an offense or a crime, informants, whether this with its example, evidence, a trial, conviction rates, a deterrent, sentencing, imprisonment, community services, and offender tendencies, and other vocabularies. Please take a look at this, okay? Yeah. And at the end, regarding the examiner's note, the candidate use topic-specific vocabularies, such as, and by this way, actually, he or she act very objective and use academic tone, right, to detain culprits, potential troublemakers, fundamental breach of civil liberties, conviction rates, informants, and the leads, okay? And usage of, and by contrast, the other people point to, cite to, highlight, demonstrate, after all they say, or another, actually for a synonym for opposed counter argument is, it appears to be true, okay? But these phrases, remember that, give the essay a very objective and academic tone, and which is made even stronger by the well-chosen topic-specific vocabularies. And by using these strategies, the candidate is able to get a high band, a high mark, such as above 7, okay? Thank you so much. I hope that you really enjoyed this module. Thanks for watching this video, and see you soon in another IELTS with me tutorial. Take care and bye.